Never take advice from this health expert.
Exercise. It makes you happier, healthier, stronger, able to live out your final years on this earth with dignity and freedom. Exercise is just such a wholesome and helpful thing. Yet there are some people who think that encouraging exercise or even talking about it is toxic. And one of these people was just hired as a public health consultant.
Oh, this is real. It's on Dr. Phil.
Is Virgie Tovar. You may have already heard that the city of San Francisco brought her on months ago as a consultant for the public health department.
Right.
The problem? Well, as we'll see in this video, Virgie is not a very big fan of health. And recently she's taken this to a new extreme.
This is like in Parks and Recreation when Ron Swanson got hired to be the director of the company or the government agency just so he could make it not work. Really, it's like a double fucking agent.
Virgie's been hating on exercise. Guys, I've been really trying not to talk about body positivity anymore. I made my points. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. The ideas put forth by the body positivity and health at every size movements are silly.
The best way to win the war against fat is to give up the fight.
Okay. You must have a lot of stock in McDonald's.
So I go check out her Instagram and I see she has a problem with exercise now.
No way. I can't believe it. What a twist.
So I guess today we're catching up with Virgie's fresh takes on exercise, health, and weight loss. And childhood obesity. Virgie was actually recently on Dr. Phil, and that's a large amount of what they discussed.
Does anybody disagree that we stop childhood obesity? Do you disagree with that?
I mean, I just think that...
How the f did this happen? This is crazy.
It's a very big phrase, right? Like at the end of the day,
it's
right? Body diversity is a thing. There are naturally bigger people. There are naturally smaller people.
So yeah. But first up, a very brief overview of her new job. You may already know who Virgie is, you may not.
So she wrote a book. It says you have the right to remain fat. Then why is she using a photo of herself on the cover of it where she's skinnier? Huh. Well, how about that?
Quote-unquote fat activist who recently accepted a new job. The San Francisco Department of Health's new weight czar has gone viral for her proclamation that no one has to be healthy.
What is your definition of health?
I remember seeing this.
No one has to be healthy. No, right?
How are you gassing this up?
She's been hired to be in the room reminding officials about stigmas faced by overweight people while they are developing public health initiatives. Virgie has a lot of very extreme views about health and weight, so I was so surprised when I saw this hire. And for me, I feel very, very strongly that I owe myself health and I owe everyone that I love health. I think I have a duty to everyone in my life to try to be behaviorally healthy. Like, I can't help if I get a disease, but I can at least try to live in a way that doesn't cause everyone else around me anxiety. That's the way I think about it.
Being fat is bad. If you're fat, it's bad.
And I don't know if everyone has to agree with that philosophy.
It's just the way it is.
Probably should be your philosophy if you have a role in public health. Like, if your job is literally to increase the health of the public.
I do think that it is a problem, and it's a conflict of interest, that you hire somebody whose job is to help the public be healthier, and they don't want people to be healthy. Like, I think that's just a bad idea.
And that doesn't mean you have to like run marathons. You should have a basic interest in health. Because if you don't care about health, that's cool. You have the right to go set up a casino and cigar stand over there. But you probably shouldn't take a role in public health. I feel like that is extremely fair. But it says her job is to remind officials about stigmas faced by overweight people while they are developing public health initiatives.
What, like not being able to fit in a plane seat? Like what is stigma? Like, what do you mean?
Now, at first glance, I see nothing wrong with hiring someone to be like, hey, don't worry about your weight, just focus on engaging in healthy behavior. That's a very helpful message. That could be the message that some people need to hear in order to do what they need to do to be healthy. Get your sleep, eat well, be active, try to make progress, and just do what you can from where you're at. If that was the message that Virgie was hired to promote, I see that as a positive thing, even if I don't agree with the rest of her ideas. But when I looked into it, Virgie's opinion actually seems to be the opposite.
Well, of course it is, because it's just another fat, gluttonous retard that's sitting around and wants to promote their ideology so they can justify their disgusting lifestyle. That's the reason why. Everybody knows it. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. This is what they do. And the reason why it's almost all fat women that are doing this is because the entire fat acceptance movement is a huge psyop to try to make men want to date them. but they don't want to. See one of these like fat acceptance movements, it's 95% women.
So let's go take a look at her Instagram. Let's start first with this Instagram post. Virgie recently conducted a weight bias training to a group of government workers.
Does Elon know about this? Like, this is our tax money. This is state funds. I mean, Gavin, who's going on Gavin Newsom's podcast next? Can we please have them, like, can you make him react to this?
Included the following 4 tips. Ending weight/food bias at work. Helping to decrease stigma around food and bodies at work means doing less of these 4 things. Number 1, talk less or not at all about how you or others eat at work.
I see. So she wants that to happen because she's fat and she's eating food at her desk and it's disgusting and people don't like it. And so she wants to make it a rule that you can't do that. See, in order to understand hog logic, you have to think about the prime motivating directive behind it. How can this enable the person to eat more food? As soon as you think about it from that perspective, everything else makes sense. It's so easy to reverse engineer.
Virgie really means don't talk about your diet. Do not talk about keto, paleo, carnivore, veganism, calorie counting.
And this is the other thing, right? This is another fucking Karen that's trying to tell everybody else what they can and can't talk about. This is the bottom line. It's another, like, unfortunately not self-appointed, dumb bitch that's going around trying to use a position of authority to tell other people what they can and can't talk about. It's annoying.
A way that suggests that you are moderating what you consume, which is a major double standard because, let's be real here, what would Virgie's opinion be if Nancy from accounting brought cake to the office?
It's so rich.
You know that talking about that office cake would be completely fine and perhaps encouraged. Well, unless someone asked for the smaller slice.
CRFI.
No, this has got to be a meme, right? I mean, this has got to be from fucking like Portlandia. Cake-related eat-phobic incident. The moment when it's time to eat delicious cake and it's interrupted by a marginalizing impulse, by moderating impulse, I think. There's no way that the taxpayers of California are paying this woman to give seminars to a fucking trauma dump that people are telling her that her slice of cake is too large at a birthday party. How does this happen?
Declare publicly that their slice is too large.
Like, there's no way that Virgie is talking about outlawing talking about food in general because she spends half of her Instagram talking about what she's eating.
I would have never guessed.
So obviously anyone would be allowed to talk about worshiping junk food at the office, but no one would be allowed to talk about trying to improve their blood sugar levels. It's just a little bit backwards. It's a little bit over the top. And it's genuinely concerning that this was part of a presentation given to a government organization.
Can you imagine that? You work at the government, you have to listen to this shit?
Okay, next tip. Number 2, talk less or not at all about your or others' bodies at work. Okay, that's fine. Number 3, talk less or not at all about exercise at work.
So you're not allowed to talk about exercise. Again, so you have to reverse engineer. Why is it that that's bad? It's bad. Okay, so think about it. It's bad because other people can have conversations about exercise and she feels self-conscious being present in those conversations because she doesn't exercise. So if you have to understand hog logic, it's all directly relationary. It has a direct relation to enabling them to feel good about indulging in being fat. That's what it's all about. That's the entire beginning, middle, and end.
So this is why I wanted to make this video. Every single person should be annoyed about this. There just ain't no way you're telling people not to talk about exercise at work. First off, that's like saying you can't talk about the weather if the weather made your health better in every single way. Exercise is just so unproblematic. It is literally one of the most health promoting behaviors of all time. Depending on who you ask, sleep might be number 1, but exercise is right up there with it. Regardless of body weight, if you exercise a few times a week, really exercise, even if you don't lose a pound of fat, you will be a way healthier human being. Weight loss is hard and not everyone will achieve it, but if everyone just committed to exercise, It would be an absolute game changer health-wise. And if someone is being hired to represent overweight people in the room and not pushing this message, it's just silly. A health expert discouraging discussion of exercise should not exist.
It's ridiculous. It's such a crazy inversion of logic and rationality that it's shocking that it even exists.
Maybe Virgie is encouraging people to exercise. She recently held a Reclaiming Movement After Diet Culture workshop. My heart is so full after hosting the Reclaiming Movement After Diet Culture workshop today. Fat phobia, diet culture, and toxic fitness culture try to convince us that there is a line between legitimate exercise and illegitimate movement. Everything else we do all the time, like laugh, breathe, cry, hug our pals, run to get the last slice of pizza.
I don't think she's running to get the last slice of pizza. I don't think that's happening.
Bend over to give our fur children a pet, have sex. Okay, well, there is a line. There's a distinction between running to get the last slice of pizza and exercising. But I think what's even more concerning is not only do these things not qualify as exercise, they don't even really qualify as movement. This is a whole workshop that, in theory, would be just encouraging people to do what they can.
It's like, well, how is it legitimate that you're exercising, but me laughing and eating pizza isn't legitimate?
Lower the bar a bit, but be active in your own way. Do something from where you're at. But with Virgie, we can see that she lowered the bar from exercise to just movement, but then didn't even meet that bar. Let's go through
this. What a surprise.
Okay? Laughing. I mean, you can call
You're
it
moving your face,
it's not really voluntary though, so it's kind of on the line. Breathing definitely does not count as movement. Hugging our pals. I'm not going to qualify that one as movement. You're stationary, most of that. Running to get the last slice of pizza. Ironically, this is the most movement that is on this list. Making tea. Again, you are stationary throughout the entire thing, doesn't count. Bending over to give our fur children a pet.
It's like this is made on purpose to be annoying.
Bending over qualifies to her as movement. Have sex. Okay, sure, fine.
Great.
Exist. Virgie. There is a clear line between exercising and existing, okay? I feel like the fact that exist is on this list. Considering that a lot of the time we are existing, it looks like this, and this, and this, I am gonna go ahead and declare that existing is not movement. If you added up the steps from this daily movement, you'd be at like 50 steps. You really would think that the entire point of a workshop like this would be like, you know what, no matter where you're at, you can do something. Go for a walk, go outside and play with your kids, your pets, keep your house really clean, pick up a sport with your friends. Years ago on the channel, I covered a story of a really inspiring person named Jesse Shand. He was like 600 pounds, he could barely stand up, and to get started exercising, he literally just flopped around.
Miskers said that at your weight, you could just literally flop around and lose weight. I laughed, I had to admit, but
then you started flopping. I think that there's so much toxic positivity in like a lot of women's movements where like they enable bad behavior like this. And I think this is a really great example where like I think men have a much easier job holding each other accountable for like unhealthy or bad practices. And I think that women, and this is going to be a bit of a conspiracy theory, but I've always thought that women encourage other women to gain weight as some form of like 500 IQ evolutionary thing because they know it's going to give them like an advantage in like biological reproduction. Like that's probably totally fucking insane for me to say, but it makes sense.
That was exercise. It got his heart rate up, he was sweating, it was exercise, and it changed his life. If we always just do what we can today and do a little bit better tomorrow,
that's crazy.
We'll find ourselves one day in a better place in life. And so you think that would really be the purpose of people being hired. Here are some clips from longevity doctor and author Peter Attia on the value of adding just a little bit of exercise to your life.
What's the difference in all-cause mortality if I go from doing zero exercise to doing just a bit?
Going from zero activity to just 90 minutes a week is about a 15% reduction in all-cause mortality.
So if you just fuck around for an hour and a half a week, you're 15% less likely to die from some bullshit? That's crazy.
You start looking at the health benefits of, purposeful but not really brisk walking. They're substantial. Walking the dog.
Bro, this must make her so upset.
So the health benefits of light physical activity, light exercise, are substantial.
Going from completely sedentary to just doing some movement, not existing or running for pizza type movement. Real movement changes your health radically for the better. So you'd think that the point of a reclaiming movement workshop would be to promote this message.
They're reclaiming physical movement by, so let me get this straight. So this is like, you're reclaiming physical movement by categorizing physical movement as breathing. Right.
Some of Virgie's finest work, well worth whatever the taxpayers of San Francisco are paying her, I'm sure. Although I did see that the position was worth only like $12,000, so it's not anything crazy.
98% of people vote no. How did this happen? If 98% of people don't want this, why is it there?
Virgie actually breaks it down further, and it honestly just gets worse. The premises of the workshop were, number one, we are all born movers. The universe is always moving.
The planet is moving, so I'm always moving. So we have actually gotten into intergalactic, transplanetary hog logic. I didn't even know that we could... This is impressive. No, this is crazy. Let her cook? I guess so.
She's literally saying that we're already moving because the planet is rotating, isn't she? That's what that says, right? I'm not just... The universe is... Oh
my fucking God. How is this real?
Always moving, that's what that says. See, like, what do we actually do with this? The workshop is persuading people that exercise is unnecessary because the planet is rotating. This is why I don't want to talk about this stuff anymore. It's too out there for me.
So
I just don't. But it actually blows my mind when I see university after university has invited Virgie to come and speak. She's given multiple speeches at Berkeley, a well-respected American.
What?
And it actually kind of messes with your head a bit. You're like, am I missing something here? Or is what this person's saying actually not making any sense? Exercise is the rendering of movement into productivity and outcome. Usually that outcome is modification and disciplining of the body.
Holy fuck. Did you get this from ChatGPT? No, you didn't. Because if it did, it would have made more sense. Exercise is a construction.
A way of claiming the body as your responsibility rather than the responsibility of the collective. Exercise is a construction that is designed to generate blame, and that is why it can feel so loaded, so awful, even though it's just 1 foot here, 1 foot there, 1 arm here, and 1 arm there.
This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. And you have to understand that these people are so selfish and so self-centered that they literally think that the planet is rotating in order to help them exercise and lose weight. Like, they actually think that the world revolves around them. It's incredible.
This is the perspective of someone who seriously couldn't possibly imagine exercise for any other reason than hating the way that your body looks. But Virgie, you know you have a heart and it is a muscle. You have a brain. I think thus far in society, exercise has had terrible PR. I think something we do a terrible job of in society is bringing home the message that exercise is not just a weight loss thing. It's barely a weight loss thing. It's a life thing. We all need to do it whether we like it or not every single day. In Peter Attia's Outlive, he says we'll actually have to train in order to do the following basic activities when we're like 70 or 80. Go for a nature hike through a hilly area. Pick up a grandchild. Carry in your own groceries. Lift a suitcase into an overhead compartment on an airplane. Open a jar. Have sex. Climb stairs without assistance. Isn't that insane? We won't be able to do any of that basic stuff if we don't train for it.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of people. No, it's true. There's plenty of people. They're fucked up. Like, they're all kinds of fucked up, and they're not even. I've seen people that are 60 and they're needing to use mobility scooter at Walmart, and they're over there on the Cheetos aisle, just balling out. I mean, that's it. They won't make it to 40? Nah, there's most fat people, most of them crash out around 45 to 55. That's usually what happens. You guys ever notice how their only fat person that's really old, that's famous, is Santa Claus and he's not real? You guys ever pick up on that?
And if you're very overweight or obese, which is Virgie's audience, is who she's been hired to represent, you're actually going to need to exercise even more to account for this. And I know a lot of people aren't motivated by who they'll be when they're older. But if you also just want to be your best self in general, like today, exercise is inseparable from this.
Like, I started exercising more recently too. Like, I exercise pretty much every day. As soon as I end my stream, I immediately go for like a 20-minute, like maybe a mile and a half walk. And I don't really like, I'm not I'm not doing like, okay, and the fact is that the only reason why I'm not exercising and doing more is because I'm lazy and I'm not putting in enough effort, right? That's enough, right? Like I'm not, like I have weights, I have resistance bands, I have other forms of like body weight exercise that I could do. I'm just not doing them, right? It's not society's fault. It's not McDonald's fault or anything. It's just simply my fault because I'm not making it a priority, right? Do you feel better? I do, actually. This is the difference, right? Is that like whenever I was a kid, I was very athletic, right? And you guys might not believe this, but it's true. And I spent 8 hours playing video games, 8 hours sleeping, and 8 hours being physical. And I remember when I cleaned up my entire house, whenever I was banned, I actually felt great. And I was being physical and doing things and being active for like over 5 hours a day. I felt great.
Today, you need to exercise today. I was actually reading this other book, Spark, about the benefits of exercise. There's a school in America that has these students exercising first thing in the morning, but like it's one of their classes, and they're doing really hard exercise. And they're finding that the kids that are taking this class first thing in the morning are crushing the rest of the day. I'll do a video on this book in the future. It's actually wild.
I don't like that. I think that could be a, you know, correlation, not causation situation, because I would assume that students that take the exercise classes are probably more predisposed to being conscientious about themselves, which would mean that they're more conscientious about, you know, like obviously school. And also, I think that there's a trend that people that are wealthier and have more money generally put health as a higher premium. And so you're going to have a lot of conflating variables with that. It's just my opinion, right? I mean, it's just like this is like, actually, it doesn't really matter, but like, I'm just, you know, bringing this up. I guess this is what it must feel like whenever somebody does it in chat to me.
If you want to have your best day today, not to mention when you're old, you got to eat healthy today. Yeah. Mood, energy, memory, learning, just general like quickness and zippiness of your brain, that is all governed by movement and food and other stuff. But those are important. So yeah, Virgie, f off.
True, there you go.
The entire concept of exercise. It's fair to not like it, okay?
Hey, if you hate exercising and you love eating food and you want to be fat, that's great. You're gonna die. Go ahead. Do it. This is America. You can be 600 pounds, you can suck 600 dicks, you can make $600,000 a year, and you can do whatever the hell you want to do. It's America. That's right. That's freedom.
Probably should not hold a position in public health of any kind.
Somebody's saying, do you think that the government wants this woman doing speeches so more people die before they collect Social Security?
Oh yeah, that's right. Virgie and her friends did a whole skit hating on vegetables too.
Die, Kale, die! You vegetable! Die, veggie scum! Look at what we can do when we work together to vanquish patriarchy! I mean vegetable.
Dude, this is so fucking ridiculous. How is this real? It's like this should be a skit from like, again, like Portlandia or something. This has to be a joke.
Not only that, but Virgie has had some really terrible takes on childhood obesity recently too. And I can't show you too much of their conversation because Dr. Phil is notorious for copyright striking. But I'm gonna take the risk for Virgie's views on childhood obesity. Dr. Phil had Virgie Topor on his show along with this like fit, pro-health medical doctor.
Bro, you know, like Dr. Phil, I'm gonna be honest, I love Dr. Phil. I think Dr. Phil is so based. So let me get this straight. So Dr. Phil, Baldy brings on this like fat, you know, San Francisco health assistant or health professor that thinks that exercising is bad. And then he also brings on this super attractive doctor to just make her look like a fucking idiot.
At some point, he blatantly asks Virgie if she disagrees with the idea that we should end childhood obesity.
Does anybody disagree that if we can stop childhood obesity from a health standpoint, that we should? Anybody disagree with that? Do you disagree with that?
What do you think Virgie says? Well, she basically just flat out refuses to answer the question, just kind of stutters.
I think if your kid's morbidly obese, it should be abuse. If your kid's a little chubby, that's just the way it is, right? And there's a little bit of biological diversity that people have, definitely, right? But like, you talking about 100 pounds? It's child abuse, bro. Like, yeah. Too subjective? No, it's not. There's your healthy weight for your size and weight, and morbid obesity is being 100 pounds above that. That's child abuse. It's simple. Like that. There it is. Like it's not this. See, this is what hogs do. They create an apparatus of lies that they live in. And it's built off of like compounding lies. It's wrong by its freedom. It's not freedom, it's a child. A parent is responsible for the well-being of their kid before they're 18. If their kid is causing problems, it's the parent's responsibility to solve that. That's the way it works. The kid has the freedom to grow up with parents that take care of them. That's what I would say.
I just think that it's a very big phrase, right? Like, at the end of the day, right, long-term dieting sets people up to gain weight over time.
Long-term dieting sets people to gain weight over time. Guys, what kind of logic is that?
Dr. Phil straight up asks her, if you could push a magic button and end childhood obesity, knowing all the health and life problems that it causes.
If you can push a button and keep a child from experiencing obesity, that's...
Yeah, sure, but we don't have the button. But let's say you did.
That's her response. She's not going to put an end to childhood obesity because childhood obesity is the result of body diversity. Childhood obesity is natural.
That seemed to me like a question that anybody would say yes to. If you could stop childhood cancer, would you say yes to that?
Well, I think what's hard is we're using the word obese.
Bro, he got her. He fucking got her. This is terrifying. The thing is that for the better part of 10 years, we were prevented from being able to say the truth about people like this. And we were living in a Karenocracy, and this type of disgusting, gluttonous, self-serving, selfish behavior was normalized. That's it. No longer. We are done with that.
Obesity when there's actually body diversity, right? Like, there are people in this room who have children who are naturally in larger bodies.
They're naturally in larger bodies. It's like, I was going to make a car joke, but I was like, wait a minute. No, you can choose to buy a Miata or you can choose to buy a van. It doesn't even make sense with a car. They're born fat. It's disinformation? Yeah, I guess so.
We're not going to put an end to childhood obesity. So yes, Virgie would not put an end to childhood obesity, even though she went through it herself.
She went through it herself.
She would not put an end to it.
Body diversity is a real thing.
To suggest that childhood obesity happens because of the body diversity thing, it's just not rooted in reality. Like, it's so silly that I would not be talking about this seriously if San Francisco didn't hire her and Berkeley didn't invite her to speak. Like, somebody has to say something.
It's all, this entire movement and everything surrounding it is a massive cope by fat women that are trying to psyop society into thinking that it's not disgusting. That's the entire thing. That's what it's all based off of. Every single part of the fat acceptance movement works to serve that goal.
We have different reasons for being different body sizes, but body diversity to the tune of children being morbidly obese didn't exist in the 1970s. This number has steadily risen for the last 60 years, up from basically zero.
Well, it's so bad now that not only, so you've got the kids that are getting spawn camped not only by McDonald's, but also by Apple. And not the kind you eat, but the kind you play on. So they're on an iPad all day eating McDonald's, and you've got kids that don't even develop muscles in their legs enough to where they can go upstairs. You got kids in 4 and 5 years old that can't even go up the stairs because they haven't developed the muscles in their legs to do it. No way, for real? Yeah, it's real. Look it up.
And at some point, Dr. Phil completely calls her out and says, you just want to run an agenda about discrimination and ignore health.
You're wanting to run an agenda about discrimination and ignore health.
But no, I don't.
It's not an agenda. It's a menu.
I'm saying that
you do want to ignore health.
Of course you do. Thank you, Dr. Phil. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
A social agenda.
And finally, if we need any other evidence that Virgie probably shouldn't hold any sort of role in public health, even if it's only for $12,000, I present you this article. So I found this article on her old blog where she discusses interrupting an obesity research conference.
What that means is talking to her and her friends when they're at Golden Corral.
Her friends ran into a meeting of researchers and scientists discussing improving.
That's real. That was real.
And interrupted the whole thing by playing music and yelling, "Correlation isn't causation." And then Virgie was escorted out by a woman who said, "Shame on you" to her, to which Virgie thought, if shame belongs anywhere, I thought, it belongs to the people who are at this conference, not us. You mean the scientists trying to help people with obesity?
Yes. Obviously, the scientists should be ashamed of themselves.
At some point on the show, even a 14-year-old clapped back at her.
Not the same thing. Race and the size of your body are just not the same thing.
Wait, she said, no, they are not playing into that bullshit that, like, minorities can't lose weight. What the f is wrong with you?
I heard this video about a person who quite literally disowns the entire idea of health being hired to a public health position. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. It's Ron
Swanson. This is unbelievable. I don't know how this happens, guys. I really don't. And it's nuts. You please explain how the fuck this happened? Let me explain how the body positivity movement happened. The body positivity movement happened because you had a bunch of women that got together that wanted to create an apparatus that enables them to continue being gluttonous and overweight. And so they've created and this is also, you keep in mind that a lot of the women that do this are white or white adjacent. There's a very big component of, I think it's especially white women, that are looking to find a way that they can be a oppressed class. Am I wrong? And I know, like, oh, you're not supposed to say this, but I'm saying they try so hard. They try so hard to figure out some sort of way that they're oppressed, that they're the same, right? It's painfully true. It is. You look at the Tesla riots, you look at look at all these protests and everything. It's like, how many points on the graph do you need to make a line? Because you've certainly got a lot more than 2. And so, yeah, it's just disgusting, man. Yeah, it's just, I don't know what to say. Please change the screen. Yeah, I mean, I do think that's genuinely what it is that it's also another movement that, like, you know, like white women and people, and a lot of these women are like part of like, they're like from places of like relative privilege, and so they have like a guilt for that, and so they create a way to make themselves feel like they're victims, so they can feel better and less guilty about their privilege. That's basically what I think is happening. And I understand that, like, oh, this might be kind of harsh to say, but I'm being honest. I think that's really what's happening. I think that's actually what's going on. And yeah, it's just that simple.